Hey guys, what's going on? It's Calamity here to bring you another episode of the Anything Goes podcast. Today we got some more NFL news, NBA news, some more baseball signings. We got UFC updates and esports and movies and TV. So we got a lot of stuff today. Um, so I'm just gonna go ahead with the NFL. We had two games in the NFL. We had the conference championship games for the AFC and NFC to see who's going to play in the Super Bowl on February 7th. Um, we had Tampa Bay beat Green Bay 31-26. This game, honestly, it looked a lot worse than what the final score was. It literally, I mean, Brady didn't play very good for Tampa Bay. I mean, he did well, I don't know. It's hard to not judge, but say how well he did because he had 3 touchdowns, but he also had 3 picks, which sounds terrible, but he actually played. I think he played pretty good. The 3 interceptions was bad, obviously. That's what kind of led Green Bay to kind of make a little bit of a comeback, but it didn't cost him the game, thank God. But honestly, what cost Green Bay the game was they had a chance. It was a weird play. So it was 3rd and goal. They were within 10 yards, if I remember correctly, or they were at the 10-yard line. Aaron Rodgers, he has to he does his, I think it's like a 3-step drop, maybe a 5-step drop. He comes back, then he has to go forward and he starts kind of running, scrambling to the right a little bit. He hasn't passed the line of scrimmage yet. And you have Devontae Adams in the middle of the end zone, like right in the front, like barely over the end zone line. And Rodgers decides to throw to him. He's got a defender back behind him to his right and a defender to his left. So technically he's double covered, but I can see where Rodgers thinks he can get it in there. But Rodgers throws it and it gets tipped and batted incomplete. Now, the big concern here was, well, not concern, but the big problem was that Aaron Rodgers had a whole lot of space to his right where he could have probably ran it in for a touchdown. I don't know. It's hard to tell from the camera angle that they had of the game. But to me, it looked like he could possibly score. If not score, get to like the 1, maybe the 2. I guess the furthest back he'd be able to get to, or that they could have tackled him, would be like the 3-yard line. But I think he probably could have run it in. He's still pretty mobile for being 38. I think he is. He's up there in age. But nonetheless, incomplete pass. Now it's 4th down. 2 minutes left to go in the 4th. You're down by 8. If I'm the coach of that team, I go for it. But Matt LaFleur, he didn't want to go for it. He thought that they could possibly get the ball back somehow. Don't really know how. I mean, so they kick a field goal. They get 3 points. They're down 31-26. Now you definitely need a touchdown to score. Or touchdown to win. And they give the ball back to Tampa Bay. They don't do onside kick or anything. Now they still have their 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. And Tampa Bay converts a 1st down. Green Bay's only got 1 timeout left. And actually, they convert the 1st down, but then they get it's 3rd down. Tampa Bay's wasted all their timeouts. 2-minute warning is gone. And all Tampa Bay needs to do is just get a 1st down. I think it was like 3rd and 6. And they do they do like a short pass to Godwin, and Godwin gets out around and he gets over the 1st down line and seals the game. Now that, to me, that game, it shouldn't have been that close. Brady threw 3 picks, as I said. That could have turned the game easily in Green Bay's favor. But Green Bay didn't cash in. I think Rodgers made a mistake in not running it. and trying to force it to Devontae. I know they've been the best duo like in the league this year, but situational football, man. I mean, Rodgers has been in the league long enough. He should know to not throw that pass. I mean, I get it. It's Devontae Adams. You had him pretty open, but you had all that green to your right. I know it's going to be fourth down, but you could have put your team in a different position where your coach would look at it and be like, yeah, we're at the 2. We'll most likely get in. Go for it. But he did that, and the floor didn't go for it. So, I mean, they cost themselves the game. But it was still a really good game. So Tampa Bay goes on, and they are the first team to actually host the Super Bowl. They're the only team in NFL history to host a Super Bowl and be in the Super Bowl. No team has ever done that before, so the Super Bowl is in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be playing in the Super Bowl. It's the first time that's ever happened. And then you have, in the AFC, you have Buffalo and Kansas City. Kansas City won 38-24. Now, this game was kind of a different story. I mean, a lot of people were freaking out because they didn't know if Patrick Mahomes was going to play. He ended up playing. He passed the concussion protocol. And everything was good. I mean, I didn't really see a whole lot. I mean, like the game, 38-24 sounds a little bit closer than it actually was, in my opinion. I mean, it didn't seem like it was that close, but I don't know. It wasn't really that entertaining of a game either. I mean, not much happened. But so it's Tampa Bay, Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. I'm going to make my prediction right now. I'm going to say Tampa Bay is going to win. Brady's going to get his 7th Super Bowl ring, and I think he'll probably get MVP too for the Super Bowl. That's kind of what I'm rooting for. I also think that'll happen. Brady can get revenge against Kansas City the last time they played each other in the playoffs. So I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into it for Brady. I know a lot of his team hasn't been to the Super Bowl before, but I think they're too good of a team. I mean, Kansas City's a good team too, don't get me wrong, but I don't think their defense is that good. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I don't think that Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, I don't think they're going to have enough firepower to get through that defense. Yeah, honestly, if I'm looking at it offensively, I would rather go up against Kansas City's defense than Tampa Bay's. So that's kind of where I'm drawing the line right there and who wins. I think it's going to be a very close game, don't get me wrong, but I think Tampa Bay is going to pull it out in the end. So that's for the scores of the NFL. Now, there was some news the other day where Aaron Rodgers, he's questioning his future with, well, he's just questioning his future is what he said. He's unsure what he wants to do. He's going to take some time and reflect on his situation and see if he's going to possibly retire, request a trade, or stay. I mean, I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's in his upper 30s, so it's getting close to time for him to actually retire. But I think if he does request a trade, I think Green Bay will honor that. I mean, he's been their quarterback since Brett Favre. And I think that there's too much respect between the two that I don't think he'll have to pull a Gronk, I guess. I think they'll probably honor that trade. Where he goes, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping he comes to New England. I know he's an older quarterback, but he's still got it, man. Like he played amazing this year, and I don't really see him slowing down much either. And to see him with Belichick, I mean, people have been asking that. They're asking how that duo would work. Why not see it, man? If I'm New England, go get fucking Rodgers. Excuse my language, but damn, get Rodgers. I think they should get Rodgers, or the other news I have is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has actually requested a trade as well. They have him and the Lions have mutually agreed to part ways, but any team that's going to want him is going to have to trade for him. Those are the two quarterbacks I think New England should get. Obviously, there's other teams in the mix. The Jets, I think, are kind of in the mix, but they're also kind of in on Deshaun Watson. I think you'd have to give up a lot more for Deshaun Watson than Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford. But if I'm New England, one of those two guys needs to be on your team next year. Let's see. We're going to go to the NBA now. As I said, it's kind of hard to get scores because they play every day and yada, yada, yada. So I kind of picked the best stories and go from there. So we had Steph Curry pass Reggie Miller on the career three-pointers list. He's second all-time now for career three-pointers made. It's really impressive for Steph Curry. He's still got a few years ahead of him, so at least I think. So he'll probably, if he doesn't get number one, he'll be in second place at least. So good for him. And then we have Gordon Hayward has 2 30-point games in a row. Obviously impressive, seeing what he did in Boston with his time in Boston. He really didn't play that well because of that injury he had his first year there. I don't blame him at all. I love Gordon Hayward. I wish he would have stayed with Boston, but I get it. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. Injury, chemistry, whatever, just didn't work out. It's working out for him down in Charlotte, though, that's for sure. He's playing really good down there. And then we have DeMarcus Cousins. Takes it upon himself to destroy the Dallas Mavericks one night this week. He put up 28, 11, and 5. That's 28 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. And it kind of looks like he's returning to form, at least. It's been a while for him since he's looked like that, honestly. He's had a lot of injuries lately, last couple of years anyways. It's kind of good to see him back. If he gets back to that kind of form, Houston Rockets are going to be a dangerous team out west with him, John Wall, and Oladipo. That's going to be a nasty team if he gets back to playing like that consistently. The Nuggets beat the Suns in double overtime, and the 76ers beat the Boston Celtics twice in a row. This one hurts my pride a little bit. We've taken pride in beating the 76ers almost all the time. And Joel Embiid's even said that. He's been on the record saying we need to beat them, like they're one of the best teams in the conference, like we need to show that we can beat them. They always kick our ass, like stuff like that. I don't know if he was saying it to get his team fired up or what, but somehow it worked. Embiid went off both games. First game he scored 42 and had 10 rebounds. Next game he had 38 and 11. So like he came to play and they won both those games. Absolutely ridiculous, but good on him. I like Embiid, I'm not going to lie, but his injury history kind of scares me, as I said last episode. So I don't think he's probably going to get MVP because I feel like an injury is going to happen either midway through the year or closer to the end of the year. And honestly, Boston 76ers, or Boston and Philadelphia will probably play each other in the playoffs, and he may not be a part of it because he might be injured. So, and that's when Boston will take it for him again and actually beat them. In those two games, Jaylen Brown actually went off and almost matched Embiid point for point, literally. First game he had 26, 5, and 3, and the second game he had 42, 9, and 3. So Jaylen Brown, I'm really impressed with what he's done lately. He has really stepped up. I mean, teams kind of needed him too because Tatum hasn't been around because of COVID. I know that's 2 losses on our hands, but to see that from him is very impressive. The Celtics also lost Peyton Pritchard, which kind of sucks, but they're only going to miss him for a couple weeks, and he's a rookie, so I mean he's not playing too crazy minutes, but he's been a good player for them too. So we'll see how Boston bounces back from those losses. That's really all I had from NBA. We're going to go to the MLB now. Just list off some names and where they went. Boston signed Enrique Hernandez and Garrett Richards. Richards shores up their pitching, and Hernandez is kind of that utility guy that kind of replaces Brock Holt from a couple years ago. They didn't really have that guy last year, unless you count Verdugo, but Hernandez is definitely the utility guy that they can use kind of wherever. Brad Hand signed with the Washington Nationals. Jason Castro signs with Houston. Michael Brantley stays in Houston. J. Happ signs with the Twins. Angels sign Jose Quintana. And Kirby Yates signs with Toronto. Those are kind of like your big signings right there. Most notably are, I think, the Boston signings and the Houston signings, I think, are the biggest ones in there, to be completely honest. I mean, Angels signing Jose Quintana is pretty good. I mean, obviously it's good for them. And Kirby Yates going to Toronto kind of shores up their bullpen. But as I said before, I think Toronto's probably going to win the AL East. They're still going to be a scary team. Yankees are going to be up there. Red Sox, hopefully, I'm hoping that they're going to be up there in the mix with the Yankees at least. But I don't know. I mean, Richards helps, definitely. I like that signing. I also like Enrique Hernandez. I think he's going to be a good addition to the team. Him and Verdugo have plenty of chemistry. So that's always a plus. So I'm hoping Boston gets back to form and is up there in the AL East. We'll have to see. It might be a dogfight towards the end of the year between Toronto, them, and the Yankees. A couple of sad news, or a couple things of sad news for baseball. Don Sutton passed away at the age of 75, and Hank Aaron passed away at the age of 86. Both unfortunate. And Hank Aaron and Don Sutton, both legends in the game. Very sad news there. If we go on to the UFC, I just realize you guys probably can't see like my whole face. UFC, we had the big fight between Conor McGregor and Poirier. Conor McGregor got knocked out in the second round, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping McGregor did good. I like McGregor a lot, but taking that year off definitely hurt him. And he admitted, he said, you can't take a day off. I took a year off, I got punished. That's what happens. So hopefully he'll be returning to form pretty soon when he does another fight. Who knows how long that will be. I did see like a video of him leaving this fight, and he had like a crutch. So I don't know if something happened during the fight or what, but who knows how long the recovery time is going to be for that. Now, we go into movies and TV. The first trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong came out the other day. If you want to go see it, you can see it on Culture Crave on Twitter. That's where I get all my kind of news and trailers and stuff like that for entertainment stuff. It actually looked pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen either one, but I know enough about King Kong. I know enough about Godzilla where I can get it. But it looks good, honestly. I was surprised at how good it looked. A lot of people have said that Godzilla isn't really Godzilla in it. It's Mechagodzilla, but we'll find out, I guess. A live-action Harry Potter TV show is going to be coming out for HBO Max. It's actually in development right now. So that'll be pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's going to be on HBO Max, so you're going to have to pay for another subscription. And let's see, WandaVision Episode 3. So, spoilers ahead again for anyone that hasn't seen it. Although you should have seen it by now, just saying. Episode 3. So this one, a lot more weird things happen in this one. I think they're kind of ramping up for the finale. I don't know if it's going to be a multi-season show or not yet. Even the head writer for WandaVision, hasn't said anything either. He said he's not allowed to say anything if it's going to have a season 2 or not. But it was still a really good episode. They had some comedy still, but there was more intrigue with what was going on. Like, they had one of the neighbors was like chainsawing through one of their like not the walls of the house, but like their fences, I guess you could say, but it was like a brick fence. I don't really know what to call that, but so he was like, "Oh, you went a little low there," and then he was like, "Oh, would you look at that? My bad," and then like kept going. So that was weird, and even Vision thought that was weird. And Wanda ended up having both their kids. Their friend said something about Wanda's brother, which was weird and got really uncomfortable. And then the two neighbors were talking to each other and talked to Vision, and that whole conversation was weird. And then you see one of their friends come out from their I don't even know how to describe it. Come from that reality to reality, where it looks like there's a bunch of military people around. So I don't know. This thing could go so many different ways, and I don't know. I still think I'm right. I still think someone is manipulating Wanda. That to me is like a definite. I feel like that's still happening. Now, where their friend came out, I forget her name. Don't know why. But when she comes out and comes into like reality, I don't know if she's working for Sword and that is who is there. Like that's like the military people that are there, or if she's like pretending to be working for them, like she's a double agent, or if that's just like the normal military and they're like, listen, someone has Wanda, we need to try and figure out like what's going on, kind of that kind of stuff, which I guess would make sense too, because if people know that Wanda's been missing, who would be able to kidnap Wanda, I don't know, but that's kind of where my thinking is, and I know that woman is supposed to be the girl from Marvel, Captain Marvel, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't picture her being bad and working for Sword unless she doesn't know what Sword is, so I guess I could see that too. But then, like I said, there's multiple ways that they can go with this, and my thinking is Wanda's being manipulated. So Vision's actually still dead, completely dead. This is just her reality that somehow other people can get into. And I think the neighbors, and I think this woman, I think they're all they're either working for Sword and they're in on it, and that means they're bad, or Sword has somehow manipulated them into doing it. Kind of that kind of thing, if that makes sense. So those are my thoughts on episode 3. Supposedly, a lot of things are supposed to ramp up from here, which I think means less comedy, more kind of drama stuff. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, Wanda did have 2 kids in this reality. I don't know if those kids will be able to transfer to this one, but yeah, it's definitely been an interesting show. I've definitely enjoyed every second of it, so it's been definitely interesting to follow. Now we get into esports. So those of you guys that are into like Call of Duty, I have some stuff from their kickoff classic for Call of Duty. It was kind of like a normal, I don't want to say tournament, but it was like normal matches like they usually have every now and then, but they're technically scrimmages. So they did say some of the pro players call them glorified scrimmages, but I mean, obviously everyone's still trying to win, like it's an actual match. It's like kind of like your last. Think of it as like an NFL preseason game, kind of like that, except the starters play the whole game. So kind of like a preseason game. Let's see. So we had the first game of the weekend was Dallas Empire versus New York Subliners. Empire swept New York 3-0. Empire looked pretty freaking good. I know New York is dealing with some issues where Zuma was supposed to be on that roster, but he had to retire or I don't even know if I'd call it retire. I don't know if that's the word he used, but he had to take a step back because of an injury to his wrist. So they brought in some new people. That kind of throws your chemistry off a little bit. And that was kind of last minute, which it's not his fault. But I know that they're kind of like a rough team right now. But some of their players just didn't really step up the way they should have. Empire played really well. Shotzi looks like he's back to MVP form. I think he's probably going to take the MVP again for the second year in a row. I don't think Empire will win champs, but I mean I think they'll be in champs. I think I think it'll be them versus Optic, and I think Optic will probably win. I just like Optic's roster a lot better. I think they can handle Empire pretty well too. But that's how that went on day one for match one. But then we got the Los Angeles Guerrillas against the Seattle Surge. This game was close. LA ended up winning 3-2. LA looked pretty good. Seattle had to make a couple bounce back games, and they did. So it was good to see that they can bounce back like that. Third game we had Florida Mutineers against Atlanta FaZe. Florida won 3-2. Florida's kind of laying it all on the line this year because of what happened with one of their former players. I'm not really going to get into that here, but Florida played really well. Atlanta's a really good team. They're probably top 3 or top 4, and they kind of came out flat. You lose to Florida like that. Granted it's 3-2, so it's still close, and it doesn't really, these games don't count for anything, but you should still be on top of your game here. But that was all. Those 3 matches were day one. Day 2 started off with Paris Legion against London Royal Ravens. Paris won 3-2. It was a close game. Kind of went back and forth for a while there, but Paris ended up coming out on top. Then you got Minnesota Rocker versus Toronto Ultra. Minnesota won 3-2. Minnesota kind of had to retool a little bit with their roster, but Minnesota's another good team as well. So it was good to see them kind of come out on top there, even though it was pretty close against Toronto. And then the last game of the weekend was Optic Chicago against LA Thieves. Optic handled their business, man. Optic won 3-0 in dominating fashion, honestly. The only time they slipped up a little bit was their S&D, but even then, they didn't really slip up. They won 6-4, so it was a good weekend for Optic. They look good, man. I think Optic's gonna win COD champs. I think, but like I said, I think Shotzi's gonna be MVP. I just think Optic's roster is just too good. You got Envoy, who's just nasty. You got Dashy, kind of go with him, and then you got Scump and Formal. Where can you go wrong with that roster, honestly? And they showed their dominance over LA Thieves. I know LA Thieves is they say it's a new team, but it's really not a new team. It's their first year back in the COD League after a year off, I think. They're only off for like a year. They made, obviously, some changes since their roster's different, but they have some players that are still on. I think their roster's pretty much set, or it's been set for a while, so chemistry shouldn't really be an issue, but something was off with them when they were playing. I don't know what it was, but hopefully they'll right the ship. Again, these games didn't count for anything, but just something to keep an eye on for when it does start in a few weeks, I believe. But yeah, that's literally all I got. Hopefully, I'll be able to come up with another episode next week where we go over some things. We won't have NFL really to talk about unless something happens like trades or injuries or... Actually, no, they can't even do a trade, I don't think, until the season's technically over. So probably won't have any NFL news next week. We'll have some NBA. We'll have some MLB probably. And we'll have another WandaVision episode to talk about. So there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you want to see the rest of them. Or see more of them when they come out. And I'll see you guys next week. See ya.